Alright guys, we did the first video and apparently it pissed off YouTube because they demonetized it. But regardless, that's fine. It generated some comments and there were some things that I wanted to address. First off, one of the things that I stated in the video was that the same principles that we use in every instance, whether it's armed or unarmed, whether it's with an edged weapon or with a gun or empty hands, the same principles apply. When I have an individual, I can stay in the kill box where he has all four of his assets being able to be utilized, or I can cut an angle to where now I can approach from a flank. That way these assets become less prevalent. Understand that when we're doing the videos, we're trying to keep these short in 5 minutes. If I could show you how to fight in every scenario in 5 minutes, there wouldn't be any reason for me to teach anything, okay? The point being is that we're trying to break these up and keep these small so that people can learn from them and kind of pick up on some concepts, some key fundamental concepts. So he comes in with that attack, I come off line. From here I can get shoulder to shoulder, trap that arm, and then from here you can start executing whatever kind of disarm. The reverse grip where he's coming overhand, alright, and he's coming in from here and I'm blocking the same way. I'm trying to block as much of my fundamental areas as I can. Now I can start stripping. Now, one of the other questions that was brought up was that in most of these type attack scenarios that they're ambushes. I get that, okay? The problem is that the nature of an ambush is that you can't prepare for it. I can only react to it once it happens. This gets out of the realm of combatives and now it gets into more of the realm of situational awareness, which is something that we've talked about in your personal vulnerability assessment. So one of the other questions that came up was with regard to him using that lead hand. Now, with that lead hand, the purpose of this is that I can maintain distance. Remember when we go back to those concepts, we talked about things like range. We talked about those core fundamental concepts like being in the kill box and how that applies to both small unit tactics and individual skills. So keeping him in the kill box, which is in this area, is what this hand is for. Now if he's to rotate on this side and get on my flank, then this is less of a problem. But now this is where I rotate. So this being the case, my job as the attacker is I want to keep this individual both within my range. I don't want him trying to retreat, so I'll keep him in, but I also don't want him closing that distance up on me and getting in too close, so I can use this elbow and this forearm here to keep him in the range so that I can just start stabbing. That's the purpose of this hand. Different technique than what we showed, however the principle still applies. When I'm in this type situation and the individual comes in and he grabs a hold, the biggest thing I'm worried about right now is not the knife. If I reach out for this knife, all he has to do is retract it back and it's out beyond my reach. Okay? That is not the immediate threat. It is and it isn't, but the immediate threat is the support hand. So as he reaches out with that support hand, I'm looking to just drag off line. Now once again, I want you to see the stance. If he's sitting right here, I am now sitting on his flank. All that I did was I executed an arm drag to expose his flank. So I've accomplished two things in doing that. As he goes to close the range, I can block that knife, but if he goes to retract back, I can go ahead and I can get offline. I can expose his flank. Notice that now I am no longer in the kill box. I am on the flank, I am outside of the range, and I'm using his body as a separation from the knife. So, in this type of scenario, he's coming in and he grabs a hold, I'm not paying attention, he comes in and I try to block whatever kind of block you want to use, and he goes to retract back, now I lose contact. If I don't have contact, I don't have control. But as he goes back, at least in that motion, when that knife is going back, it is not an immediate threat to me. As it comes forward, now it's a threat. But as it goes back, it's not a threat. This is the threat. So I arm drag off, and now I can start closing in, getting into more grappling type tactics. All right. The initial video that we did had talked about cutting that angle to do the same fundamental concepts that we've done in other principles, which is to expose that flank, to get out of the kill box, that immediate area where he is planning on engaging me. I'm going to get out of that area and approach from a flank. That way I can bring all of my assets to bear on him, and he can only bring limited assets to bear on me. So we kind of demonstrate this real quick. I'm not going to let, Red Jr. here know which way that I'm going to attack, and he's just going to respond. So from here, and he. So from here, and he just responds. It could be like that, and you know what? If you're in a knife fight, you're probably going to get stuck. Probably going to get stuck. You're probably going to get stuck. But the point being is that I don't want to get stuck twice. I don't want to get stuck 3 times. Taking the approach that I'm not going to train, or that it's irresponsible to train because it's a knife, is every bit as retarded as it sounds. I might get cut, but I'm not going to roll over and die. So stay in the fight. If that knife is coming at you, you may get hit once, you may get hit twice, but you're not dead, so keep in it. Remember, if you're shot, you're not dead, and if you're dead, you won't know it. Same thing applies with a knife. If you're stabbed, you're not dead yet, and if you're dead, you won't know it. So just continue to train that, continue to work that.